reboot my... Hi, now we're live. So this is Thomas and Renee in our website one pair programming session. And I was just telling Renee that I had to reboot my computer, and I'm not running on Windows, but I'm running on Mac OS. But sometimes they really have to reboot, even though I don't want to. No, but I run a lot of servers, and for every time you run all the tests, for instance, RSpec and Cucumber, the computer tends to, I don't know, leak some memory, or after a week or two, it runs really, really slowly. So I have to do a reboot, unfortunately. But now I'm back in business with a semi-fast computer, so I will be able to be productive. Let's go to screen share and have a look at that story you want to work on, and you posted some comments on Pivotal Tracker about that, right?
I did.
Well, I have to sign in again. Okay, and Sasha's here. How are you doing, Sasha? Okay, so we all assembled.
Yeah.
Now, let's see. Did you press start on that story, Renee?
No, I didn't, because I don't know if anybody else was thinking about picking up this ticket.
So it's still in the backlog then, someplace. Web interface. Okay, so it's not voted on yet. All right, I got it. So you couldn't press start. Well, is there a need for a persist newsletter? How do you mean is there?
Yeah, I mean the question if each sent newsletter should be persisted to the database, in contrary to the status quo, which just sends don't know, any text by the console.
Good point. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it depends. Because I think I never got any newsletter by Agile Ventures.
No, you didn't. We never used that mailer yet. I don't know why, but we never came around to use it. But in terms of persistence, yes. Well, so that would mean a migration. I mean, how much complexity would that add to the story?
Actually, I think these simple code things aren't complex at all, I guess.
Yeah, so I would say yes. Actually, I would love to store that info for future references. I mean, I mean, to be on the safe side, just in that context, if somebody complains about something in our newsletters, we can always go back and see what actually was sent out. That's one point. And also another point is that, and I think you mentioned it, if they should be viewable in public on website one. I would say in this iteration I would say no to that, because that would add another view and stuff, And but I would love to at least save them in the database, but I wouldn't make them viewable right now. I don't see where we should, how we would let users access that page, where to put the link, and what would be the natural way for a user to visit that index. So I would say that would require some more thinking and design, So let's not do that in this iteration.
Okay, I'm fine with this.
Okay, the third question, should we think about adding roles or specific groups? Yes. Well, I kind of answered that one, and I think that the answer is implicit in the user story. At this point, we would just like to hard code some permissions for me and Sam and potentially Brian. I think Christopher. Yes, he mentioned the can gem. The thing is here that we have discussed this so many times already, and I'm a little ambivalent on this. me and Sam, we don't want to have any permissions on anything, basically in website one. You know, like all the documents, all articles, and all projects descriptions are editable by anybody that is a member, and that has to do with the agile principle of you know, projects being run by responsible people that needs to be given, you know, a lot of freedom and and be trusted. So that's why we haven't imposed any restrictions at all on website one. But having said that, emailing is a different thing, because that, you know, that's so easily abused. So that's why we want to hard code, you know, mailing permissions just to senior members, perhaps at this point. And you know, so we will not be you know, installing can. We looked at it, and you know, we thought about it before, but the decision right now on a higher level is not to impose anything like that. Yeah, so that would be my answer. So the answer is no.
This makes it easy.
Yes. Bulk mail right now emissions a mail for every single user subscribe. Should we switch to BCC? Yes, we should. Or even create a regular mailing list on a given provider. When you say provider, you mean like MailChimp, or what are we talking about here?
Not specifically MailChimp. I think you could just use any mailing list at any given provider, and send a message from a subscribed email account to. Okay,
we have SendGrid add-on on our Heroku instance. Are you familiar with SendGrid?
Not yet, but I guess I can stick through it.
Yeah, if you sign up for Heroku, you know, you can just have a look at what they're doing. There's a free service. And you configure it by going to your. I can show you perhaps Heroku.com, and let's see here. So if we go, for instance, to website one staging, you go to add-ons, you know, and I have SendGrid already installed as an add-on, but you can just install it, and you do it like, you know, get more add-ons, and you know, whatever you want to install here, you get a way to do it. So you just go to your console and write this command. For instance, in this case, it's Heroku add-on add pubnet, or whatever it's called, you know. So, and they usually have a free instance, and then, you know, you get to pay for more functionality. But in this case, it wouldn't be possible. So, and after that, once you have that installed, you will see that on your dashboard, and you just click on it like this, and you're rerouted to their administrative area. And let's see here, what do we got? Yes, you get 200 emails a day to send out.
Which is probably not enough.
Well, we need to, as you were mentioning, we need to split that into, you know, in our case, over a 3-day period or something, you know. So we would need to work with Sidekick or some other, you know, gem that allows us to delay certain jobs.
Yeah.
The thing with those gems, Sidekick, for instance, is that they are kind of memory intensive. You know, it eats a lot of memory, so we have to be careful with that. But I think I reckon that the only way to figure out whether we will survive on our, because, you know, we have this free instance on Heroku with only 512 megabytes of memory, and we already had big issues with memory before. So before we upgrade our servers, we need to be a little careful with that. But the only way to figure that one out is to just by try and error, basically. So let's feel free to incorporate any solution you want, and we'll see if it fits.
I don't know. I don't know. I thought the latest Rails has a kind of delayed job based on a Postgres database.
All right, I didn't know that. So, but then even better. Then feel free to investigate that and see if we can manage with a built-in solution. That would be great, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yes. So that should be it. Let's see. Let's go back to the tracker. What else did you look at for us? Yes, backlog processing. Yes. So yeah. So I would go with SendGrid. Try that. We have that on both staging on productions and production, so we can use that provider, I guess.
But I guess this could make the thing kind of more complex, because as far as I think, every single website one account has to be subscribed to SendGrid then. Am I right?
You mean each and individual server, or?
No, each individual email address.
Oh, no.
No? Okay, then I don't know SendGrid yet.
Okay, no, just for you. Well, actually, what we do, we use SendGrid for, when somebody signs up on website one, they automatically get a welcome email from us. And that is sent by SendGrid.
Okay.
But the sender is set to agileVentures.org, some address of.
This means SendGrid doesn't get a hold of all the email addresses which are subscribed in website one.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
No. Okay, so you can, if you know enough of this, and Sasha, you've been listening in on this discussion. We need to do a quick vote on this story. And since it's three of us,
I was only half tuned in because this was sort of something I wasn't familiar with.
Yes.
I don't know if I can vote helpfully, or if you can just give me a quick
just to give you a quick background. What René did is he created a way for us to do to send emails over the console, right? So all functionality is basically in place to send newsletters to our members. And this story is a continuation of a previous story, and that is to build a web interface to actually administrate, create those newsletters and store them in a database. And so the story we need to, the complexity here is not actually to build the mailer itself, because that's already been built, but rather to build the web interface for that. And we would like him to start working on that, but in order to do that, this story needs to be estimated, and that's why I would like us to go to a vote, basically.
Okay.
So there's a migration that needs to be created, a new model, basically, to store newsletters. So there's some testing, as both high-level Cucumber tests that needs to be written, and also our specs. Yeah. So, do you know everything you need to know, or?
Yeah, I guess I'm quite informed now.
And Sasha, are you ready to go to vote on this one?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm willing to put much weight in my vote, but I'll throw a number out.
Cool. And the way we do it, you guys, just to recap, when I say go, we put down 1, 2, or 3 points. 1 being a very easy story, 2 half hard, and 3 very complex story. And when I say go, we press enter together, so we reveal our assessment at the same time. So, and we're using the chat here in Google Hangouts to do that. Okay.
Yep.
Fine.
So let's type in your votes and wait before you press. And on my count of 3, 1, 2, 3, go. All right. So, and well, Sasha, you're in the minority here, saying 2. Just for the sake of the following the workflow, you would be the one to kind of explain why you gave, since you're in the minority, you would have to explain why you gave it a 2.
I was kind of expecting everyone else to give it a 1, and for me to be putting it a 1. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it sounds like you don't really need. What's my reasoning? You don't really need sort of much interaction between classes. You just have something that sends something out, but maybe you do. It didn't feel like it interacted much with other things, that it would be relatively easy to just implement something of some degree of complexity and send it out.
Fair enough. I can give my explanation. I was leaning toward a 2, but I gave it a 3 because since this involves a new model and we need to test it thoroughly from both high level and low level perspective. I was thinking that it could potentially mean there's a lot of tests and specs to be written, and also this user interface can create some issues, and I don't know, if I would approach this story, I would also have to do some research on what sort of HTML templates we would need to have stored, so all email clients can actually read our newsletters. There are some standards, like I think there's HTML5 boilerplate for emails standard that I would investigate. Just have a look at. So I feel there's a lot of stuff that one needs to learn first before that. I would have to learn before I could deliver the story. So that's why I gave it a 3.
Well, I'm happy to change to a 3.
All right, and René, what was your reasoning?
Well, actually, my reasoning was the 2 aspects of communicating with SendGrid and also the delayed aspect on it.
Okay, fair enough. So, Sasha, is it okay if we put down a 3?
Yeah, I'm very happy with that.
Cool. So let's do that. And should I set you as an owner on that, René?
Do it.
Thank you. And I think my wife just brought me a cup of coffee. I love you, honey. Okay, I'm all set. Close. All right. So, and also, if you find somebody to pair, I don't know, Sasha, if you would like to pair with René on this story, feel free to do that.
Yeah, if he's confident of sort of how to start off with it, because it sounds like a lot of stuff that I'll be not really familiar with.
Well, it could be a great learning experience, I guess. I mean, I know it would be for me, so I'm not. I was helping Marcelo implement this hire me form functionality, and I was like, it was totally new to me to deal with the mailer and stuff like that. So, but I'll try to jump in and pair with you guys as well the days ahead if you set something up. And René, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're in France, right? Or where are you located?
No, I'm not located in France. I'm located in Berlin.
Oh, in Berlin. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know where I get that from. Okay, so but anyways, we're almost in the same time zone. Sasha, I'm 1 hour ahead of you, and you're in London, right? Or where are you?
Yeah, I'm in the UK.
UK. Okay. Well, so we're Europeans at least. So it makes it easier for us to pair program. Being in the proximity of each other. So that's good. All right.
So if anybody would like to pair on this specific aspect of, I tried a quick solution by creating like a constant in the Agile Ventures lib directory, where you can put the emails in which are allowed to send, or to put the users in which are allowed to create a newsletter.
Yes, yes, and you can get those usernames. Well, the best way are, of course, to identify them by slug. You know, by the. I can show you. Let's see how I mean. Members. If you go to Sam, for instance, you see here in the URL, he's identified as Sam Joseph, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you won't be able to do that, but I can give you. I can just show you how I do it in the Rails console on the production server. CD my website 1. Are you guys seeing my?
Yeah.
Let's see. Website. Now we have replicated the database from production to staging, but not from staging to develop. So the user ID are not the same on those different servers, but the slug, you know, the Sam Joseph is basically the same. So to find him in the database, what I do is, you know, to put him in a variable, I go user find by slug. So on production, his user ID is 3, you know. So if you write this in some way, you know, to find him, mm-hmm. This is the best way to write it up. So it doesn't really matter where, on what server we are looking for him. He always has the same slug. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So user find by slug is the way to.
I didn't. I thought I wrote quite a different way by simply making use of the presenter and adding a method there. If this person is allowed to create a new newsletter, then the link will be displayed.
Okay, but how would you identify the person?
By email.
Yes. By tansaku@gmail.com in this case.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Let's see what I have. I don't even know what email I used. Okay, I got my Gmail address. All right. Cool. That's one way to do it, of course. Mm-hmm. Great. What else do we need to talk about in regard of this story? Should we go off? And you guys paired on this user status story a little bit earlier today, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
Well, yeah, we didn't really add anything.
There was some changes in the details. I pulled down your latest code.
Yeah, we refactored like 4 lines of HTML.
Okay.
Refactored, reordered 4 lines of HTML.
Well, so did you see that I kind of managed to get this form to work?
Yeah, I did. It was funny. I don't know if Renee spotted anything that I was doing that was peculiar, but I found when I first loaded it, the submit option wasn't responding. And I played around with the code. As far as I could tell, I didn't change anything at all. Tried again, and then the submit button started responding. So maybe that was just my computer being misbehaving. But were you watching that at the time, Renee?
Yeah.
Like, did I imagine that? Did I change the code without realizing that I had done it? I mean, I did all the...
I can't tell because it.
Yeah, I sort of fiddled around with it and then thought I'd left it back as I'd taken it.
Well, there was 2 lines of code changed in user's controller. I don't know what those changes were.
That was probably not.
Perhaps
I probably didn't change it. I probably changed something and then changed it back. I don't.
Yeah, because that shouldn't actually have any impact if even if you change something like an empty space or whatever. I mean, excuse me, if you remove the character or something in the user's controller, it wouldn't affect the submit button.
No, it was the partial that we made deliberate changes to.
Okay. Okay. Let's have a look at what we've got here so far. That is slow. What's going on? Oh, okay, the Ruby mine is loading. Come. There you go. That was so strange. Oh, there we go. Okay. So let's go to, let's log in. Usually it's not that slow, actually. It runs much faster, but I think because I was loading the whole project into RubyMine, so potentially that's a problem. So let's go to my account. So I moved this set status link down to this partial, and I added this glyphicon, like a talking bubble. I thought that could be cool. So yeah. Yes, well, I had big problems with having, the reason why I have a pull down, select form field, it's because it's I couldn't get the text field to work. It was preloading with a reference that we have a relationship object, it's in brackets like some RubyMine stuff, some Rails stuff. So I thought that, hey, I'm just going to take a shortcut here and add a select field with some predefined statuses. So we can have a look at this, if this is what we want to keep or not. But obviously he updates everything. And the page is being reloaded, which kind of worries me a little bit. I don't know if I want that. But this is the way it looks now. I think it's kind of okay. And also, if we go to the index page, we see that green dot at random guy because he's online right now.
I'm totally curious. How is this green dot placed?
Well, it's in application controller. We every time application controller is called, we are calling a method called user activity. I think. Yes, and after filter. I mean, yeah, after everything else is done, that application controller needs to do, we are calling a user activity. And user activity, what it does, he touches the current user. So the attribute updated at is changed. And
so you have a timeout on.
Yes, we have another method called current user question mark. I think it's in users controller, or where is it? Let's see, where did I put that? No, currently online. No. Well, online. What did I call it?
Actually,
yeah. Okay. Yes, it's on users model. I have this method. If the updated attribute has been updated 10 minutes ago or less, then the user is considered being online. Now, 10 minutes is an arbitrary number that I just picked. I don't know if 5 minutes would be better. But as long as those 5 minutes haven't passed, this green button will be displayed.
Wouldn't that be nice to be rewritten in with WebSockets or something?
Yes, it would be. But we know for a fact that our server will not, stand for that pressure. So this is a semi. It's not real time, and I don't think we need that because since I know we don't have any means to interact with users over website 1. We do all interactions over Slack basically. So this is just just to show somebody that yes, this guy's been online recently, or he's kind of online. You can talk to him.
Yeah.
And also this status here is like, waiting for the next scrum. If you see somebody online, you're just, you just kind of know what his intentions are, but it's not that really serious. You know what I mean? But if you want to talk to him, you're still gonna have to turn to Slack to do it. So yeah.
Quick question: the after filter, was it you had in the controller? The hook?
Yeah.
So what does that do? Just after any action in that controller, it calls the method user activity.
Yes. After everything, I mean, when application controller is done with everything that it needs to do before leaving the job over to some other controller or whatever. I mean, the application controller is called basically all the time, right?
Yeah.
So and that's how we can be sure that this after this user activity is kind of fresh for every time user actually renders a new page or whatever he does on website 1. He calls application controller. But if he stays inactive but still logged in, then his user activity will vanish after those 10 minutes. So this only works as long as he actually does something on the site. You know what I mean?
And is it an action controller method after filter?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's So that's the way this one is set up. I thought that, I mean, it's as good solution as any, but it's not the perfect solution, I think. But we can live with it, I guess. Okay, so what I need to do, what we need to do now is we need to write some controller specs. And in users controller spec on line 153, I have this describe block, the users add user status, and I had some issues with that. I just started to write this, and this is all failing for me. This is in no way finished. For instance, I created this let valid attribute, this valid attributes, and this is not passing for me. I'm getting a URL generation error, I think. Let me see. And it was 153, right? Well, we can run 162. Okay. Now, Sasha, you need to, just while we wait for this, you need to go to YouTube. Being logged into Google+, go to YouTube and activate your YouTube channel. And then at least once you have to log in to website 1 using your Google Plus credentials.
The problem might be that I've got 2 accounts. I use one for YouTube and one for Google Plus.
All right.
I wonder how this.
They should be synchronized, because
Google tried really hard to get me to synchronize them, and I just decided that I was annoyed with them.
Good for you. Good for you. Unfortunately, someday we all gonna have to give in to Google.
Yeah.
I love fighting those wars, but we always end up losing them, unfortunately. I leave that decision up to you. But what you could do, just to bypass that, perhaps, is if you go to your, well, you can log in with any credentials you want. Now that I come to think of it, and you just go to your profile page.
We're talking on YouTube now.
Once again?
My profile page on YouTube.
Well, no, go to your profile page on website 1.
All right.
And then there is this Connect YouTube button. And I think you will be presented with a choice of what YouTube account you want to use.
Where on the page is the button?
If you have a look at my screen for a second.
Yeah, I have my profile. Okay.
So you have to edit your profile. So you have to go to your edit page.
Yeah, edit profile. Sync with YouTube.
If you share your screen, Sasha, that would, perhaps we can see what you. There you go. Yes. So yeah. So now if you just save that. Okay, so Sasha has no publicly viewable YouTube videos, and you, of course, you don't. But now, if you create a Hangout and record it, as I do with this Hangout, for instance, then that recording will be viewable on your profile page on website 1.
Okay.
So that's good. That's a good thing, basically. Yes. Okay. So let's go back to my failing spec here. And what I'm getting now is action controller URL generation error, and that you see no route matches those, this action. And I know from previous encounters with this error that the problem is the params. for some reason, when I wrote this, valid attributes is user status, sleeping at my keyboard. This is not formatted in a way that, how it should be. But my problem is that if we go here and we just do a debugger to debug, this action, and I call this from here we go, set status, update user, and we go to my console, and we see here, and if I go write params, this is how it's formatted, by the application, right? And so what I did was cut and paste this, and just remove some of the ones that I don't need in this let block, and just reformat them to a new standard, and it still doesn't work for me, So I don't know how to format this. So I'm a little lost here. So I wonder if you guys know how to move. René, do you have any previous experience with these matters?
Actually, I do, but I don't see anything which I would write different.
Because I was thinking about. Oh, I'm broadcasting wrong. I was thinking about removing, user, and just putting it like this. But again, the way it's put, formatted here, we actually have this user and status, so it's kind of disturbing. I can just, first of all, I can continue here, and I can rerun the spec. Yes. Should we have? Well, I don't know. I'm lost for words here. We could.
What was the test failure?
The URL generation error.
No root match.
And I got the same thing now. Again. Perhaps I should add. What should I don't know if I have to have, the user ID. In it, but I'm not sure how. Or if I, I could, perhaps I could rewrite this like in being let. Is it possible to do it like, calling status dot create, and then something, but that's not attributes, so you know what I mean? Perhaps put this in a or factory girl. I don't have to call the database. I can just go like factory girl, create status, you know, and just pass in whatever I want to pass in as attributes, and don't use this at all. Could this be possible, or?
Yeah, I've never used factory girls.
Let's see if I can use the consoler again. Oh, I have used it. That's good. If we go, let's see. Well, this doesn't. Any ideas, guys?
No, in short. On line 165, I mean, I'm just trying to sort of understand the code that exists. The patch method, is that? I mean, I know it as an HTML method. How does it get into Ruby? Is that part of Rails, or?
I'm a little unsure, actually. I know that this is the way you should do it, but I'm not quite sure about the difference between using patch here or a post method, you know?
Yeah, I was wondering if that was worth trying, but I have no special reason to think it would do anything. I mean, I think patch is supposed to change rather than overwrite.
Perhaps we can try post, but I know that we have a patch method set up in routes. Let's see. It's a valid point. I'm not quite sure that this is. I've done this 100% correctly, so I'll be happy to see where are we. There we are. Routes. Yes. So here the add status route, you know, is a patch route as well. So perhaps we could change that to post as well, and see if that helps us in any way. I've done 2 changes now. I also added the factory girl. So that's okay. Which I'm not sure whatsoever if it's right. If you can use that. It's. Come on. User can't be blank. It's a different. It's strange. We are setting a user. I thought at least we were.
The factory girl line. Actually, if I use factory girl, I use this factory girl attributes for, not create.
Okay. Hold on. I'm just gonna set this as user. I was hoping that this. What do you mean? Create factory attributes for?
Yeah, it's written. I pasted to the attributes for this way.
Yeah. Okay. But then I pass in the status and the user ID, right?
I'm not sure. Actually, factory girl uses the attributes written in the factory itself, and I guess you can.
Usually, yeah. If I don't pass in, go ahead.
Actually, I would merge then different attributes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because usually if I don't pass anything in, if I don't have this, then he uses the original ones that are in the factory itself. But I can always overwrite them this way without having to merge. I think that's already built into factory Go. So let's try that and see what happened here. It's 164. 164. It's always easier to make it work, write code. It's always hard to get the specs to pass, I think. Let's see here. Okay, so now user is no longer nil, but we still get the URL generation error. So weird. No route matches. Okay, so it seems like the params are not the issue because these are formatted almost the same way. Well, they are formatted the same way I formatted them, in this line. In 156. So that's not a problem. The problem is something else. Post and no route. Add user status. Add user, and where's that? Oh, perhaps this is the problem. What is it called in users controller? Add status. Okay, perhaps that's the problem. Why? Is it so simple? Why would No. Action at status. Okay. Source control. Okay. The reason I wrote add user status is because the route is called add user status for some reason. I'm gonna try to remove this just to check out, just to see if it makes any difference. But let's see here. Add status. Yes, add status user. Add status user. And that's add status user add status. That's the path. That's not the action, that's a path. So that shouldn't be it anyway, but I'm willing to try.
Can I just ask now, while we're looking at Factory Girl, what it's actually doing?
What Factory Girl is doing?
Yeah.
Well, it's building. There's a lot of methods you can call on different models. You know, for instance, here attributes for. He stubs out. Well, he passes in the attributes for this model that you pass in here. You know, saying status into valid attributes. But you can also build. It's used for testing or you know, setting up specs. You can say Factory Girl new on a model, create. You can call any method you want on a model, basically, without touching the database. You know, so it makes testing faster, but it's the upside. You know, from what I understand, it's better sometimes to use Factory Girl because you get all the methods that comes along with the subject. You know, but when you do stub or mock, you can pass in a lot of attributes, but you don't get everything else. You know, but sometimes it's better to stub. Sometimes Factory Girl is an overkill, but I use it most of the time. Actually, it's the best way. You know, but you know to optimize, you know, you could stub or mock sometimes. And use Factory Girl other times, you know. But for me, it's more convenient to use that, basically.
Okay.
So you get a full, perhaps not with attributes for, but when I do create, then I can call any methods I want on this object. You know, I get a full featured object. Let's see, add user status, add user status. Yes. Still the same error. But what is? I was, you know, it's so weird because if I do this again and just check, oh.
Is that because we changed it to post?
Oh yes. Nora message patch. Okay. Oh. I improved that. It is. Okay, so we need to change that patch. Probably. Okay. So that was your answer. Obviously, it needs to be patched. But you know, I'm a little on thin ice here. I'm not quite Sure. Exactly what I'm doing here. But here, action is add status, right?
Mm.
So that must be add status. That couldn't be anything else. So let's change that in the spec to add status and nothing else. Should I wrap this in another, you know? But then I get an error, so that's not it. Should try this again. That is stupid because yes. Let's see. Action add status controller users blah blah blah. Nope. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here.
Would you post, John?
Yeah.
I expect.
Just looking at a thing on Stack Overflow. Just looking at a thing on Stack Overflow. Sorry, my dad was getting confused by why I was telling him what I was looking at on Stack Overflow. I don't know if it's it says you need to. I mean, maybe this is old news and done this ages ago, but it says you need to add the method that is the value of the hash, I think, of the thing that you're pointing to the roots. So like the second response, well, the first and second responses, but like they might be relevant, unless this is stuff that is just long since done.
This is too old for us now. The map, I don't think we can use that in Res 4 anymore.
The method below, I think, gives the sort of more up-to-date way of doing what looks like the same thing. It's sort of enabling this method admin login for a user. I don't know, does that help?
Well, it could, but the problem is that our problem is more related to RSpec than actual, configuration, because we know for a fact that the method is working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's like this actually updates the database and everything seems to be okay. What we have trouble with right now is to get, to mimic this behavior in specs, basically. So that's more of our spec problem than because what they are talking about here is how to configure the routes file. So
yeah, I'm googling, but I think it's fairly naive googling now.
It's okay. Action index controller. Yeah. I mean, we know, because we know that the route is set up and the route works, and we are calling the add status method in the user's controller. Yet he returns that there is no route for that particular way we are setting this up. Let's see. I mean, I know. The only difference is, like, you know, in the actual params that we saw when I was in the debugger mode, this is the way it looks. Apart from that, we have oh, this is old hash syntax, the dreaded double quotes. Yes. And add status user patch. Well, action outside controller users user, or was it users? Oh, let's just double check that. User status, then ID, random ID, random. Let's try that. It's getting a little boring. ID user. Hold on a second, guys. Let's see. Let's see. Sorry. Oh, interesting. We got a different error. Huh. Active record not found. What is not found? Interesting. That's that's good news, I think. What record is not found? So let's see. We are gonna record not found. Record not found. Let's try to control. Okay, let's see. 170. Authenticate user. Control user. Let's go. Let's see in this one. 173 instead. Our status. But what? Hmm. 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 Interesting. Interesting. I've gone through the add status.
I just checked out your repository, and I found an error which says add users this patch method.
Mhm.
Isn't it called add status user? Because then it seems to work.
Well,
In line 179.
okay. Does it? How do you mean? It works when you?
Oh, wait. And, at least then this URL generation error disappeared.
Okay. Well, it disappeared for me now when I changed 156 to a slightly different, hash.
Okay.
But let's see. I'm gonna run 178 and see if I get that. Um, oh. No, the way it was written before, I got a no route matches anyway because the invalid invalid attributes was also badly formatted. So let's see what I get here. No, that's no. It needs to be add user. Add status. I mean, it can't be add user status. So and I'm still getting the. You see, I haven't pushed my latest changes to my repository, Rene. That's why there are some badly formatted specs there. But I'm still getting the no record found on those it block. Yes, record not found, which is we are past the no routes or URL generation error, but I don't really know what record he's not finding. It's red, but yes. So user is set up. And params. Okay. So if we do this, okay, let's see what valid attributes are. Add status user. This is okay. So if we go with this patch, active record not found from user friendly ID. Why don't we try ID user? Okay. All right. So it's obviously user ID here. Okay. Yes, and user ID is Okay. We just continue this, and we rerun this show. Of course, he cannot identify, but I thought that Active Record could do that. You know, if you just pass in. No. Couldn't find user with ID, so it's a different. It's a different error message. Okay, so if we go with friendly ID and rerun this. Yes, because it wasn't a number integer, it was this random guy or whatever it was called in the params. Yes. And again, record not found. What the hell? What if I just omit this?
Sometimes I like to work with the test log also, because then the errors are quite verbose.
Mm-hmm. Now we're getting the URL generationer, so we need to have that. Yeah. Okay. User friendly. Guys, fortunately, I need to call this short today. I can be online in hour and a half, 2 hours, something again.
Okay, I'm not sure if I'll be around, and if I am, I'll hop on. And...
Sure. I'm just gonna push this up to my repo. Commit.
A sort of general question, like for coming on board, if I'm going to be sort of working on website one, is there a good approach to code? Because there's this sort of huge amount of code that I don't know, and I don't know if I should read it all, just scan the entire program, or ignore it until it's relevant. If you were just kind of approaching a really big program for the first time,
I wouldn't scan the whole thing, because that's way too much to take in. That's one thing. The other thing is that, as I said yesterday, this code is made by so many people with various levels of experience and knowledge about writing code. So it is damaged in many places. So I would just focus on the piece of the application that you actually are going to work on, rather than getting to know the whole thing. And as in any legacy code, you want to identify what are you working, where your area is, and what is relevant to the story you're going to deliver, and get to know that piece of code. Try to cover it with as many tests as possible. So read through the cucumbers and the RSpecs and everything. And if you find something that is missing, just write new tests. Let's just see if everything is working. And then just focus on your story. That would be my approach.
Okay.
I say. I don't know, Rene. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I never read all the code, but focused on the modularized part I'm working on, and this works quite well.
Okay.
Yeah, and even if you compare, if you go to the model specs for projects and for documents, which are quite similar models, basically, you'll see that the specs are written in a very different way in those two specs, because there are two different developers that were writing them. I remember that, for instance, because I've been doing stories that touched both of these models, and I have to, okay, I can do certain things in the project's model spec, if when I'm adding new specs, because the way that file is built doesn't allow for certain things. But I can do that in the documents model spec, for instance. So just because different people have been doing those two files, they are basically different, and that affects me as a developer that needs to add something to those files. So it's quite challenging sometimes, but it's a good learning experience.
Okay.
All right, guys, I pushed up everything to my repo, so if you want to pull that down, and if you feel like some divine inspiration and find the light, just let me know.
Remind me, so to pull from you, I did just git pull Thomas user status?
Yes, that's what you're going to do. And then you're going to get those small changes. I think there's a few lines.
Okay, fine. All right, cool. I'll have a look at least. I'm not optimistic about solving it, but you never know.
You never know. You never know.
No.
Okay.
Right, maybe see you later.
Yeah, talk to you. Cheers. Bye-bye.